Hello and welcome to That's a Wrap. This is our first episode of 2026, and with the new year comes some changes that are happening to this show. In the past, we have introduced the show as a roundup of entertainment and pop culture news from the past week. But going forward, we are narrowing our focus and will be only covering movie news. So instead of covering all aspects of the entertainment industry, we are zooming in on movies, the aspect of entertainment I am most interested in and passionate about. The show is also going to be less newsy, more conversational. We are still doing a weekly show. Each week I plan to be joined by a guest to break down a few of the biggest stories behind the big screen that deserve a deeper focus. But this week we are doing a special Golden Globes preview episode. The Globes are on Sunday, so we are going to go through some of the major categories with senior host at Collider, Perri Nemiroff. We will share our predictions for who will win in each category, discuss potential surprises, spoilers, however you want to call it, and highlight some of the other notable storylines surrounding the Globes. So let's now welcome in Perri Nemiroff. Perri, thank you for joining us again. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you too. So excited. Award season is in full swing now.
Yeah, with the new year comes some of these major award shows. I appreciate you being a part of our special Golden Globes episode. Usually award shows end with Best Picture, but for this show, we are going to start with the two Best Picture categories. The nominees for Best Motion Picture Drama are Frankenstein, Hamnet, It Was Just an Accident, Sentimental Value, Sinners, and The Secret Agent. Let's get right to it. Who do you think is going to win?
I feel like I need to preface by saying the way I'm going to explain this away might sound like math. It is not that simple, but it's just the way I can give you the best possible prediction. So I'm looking at this category. I see 3 exceptional international features. What if those features spread the love? Then we're looking at probably either Hamnet or Sinners. Then we have to consider the cinematic and box office achievement category. If they give that to Sinners, it's probably not going to win here. But my prediction for that category is that they're going to give it to James Cameron for delivering another $1 billion plus movie. So between Hamnet and Sinners, I am leaning Sinners in this particular category.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. I was between Sinners and Hamnet as well, and was thinking about cinematic and box office achievement. Of the two Best Picture categories, Sinners is the only movie that's nominated that is also nominated for cinematic and box office achievement. So I could see them honoring that film there and giving it to Hamnet here, or maybe even It Was Just an Accident because of so many international films being nominated this year. I can kind of see that sneaking in, but I tend to agree with you that I think it's going to be Sinners. You said Sinners, correct?
Yeah, I'm going Sinners here.
And I think that probably, I heard Sean Fennessy, host of The Big Picture, talking about on his show, previewing the Golden Globes, his predictions, talking about how Sinners wins here. It will kind of solidify that it's Sinners v. One Battle After Another for the Best Picture race at the Oscars. I think it kind of already is. I think Sinners is largely seen as the number 2 regardless, but I think if it wins here, that'll just solidify it. But yeah, so the other Best Picture category is Best Motion Picture Musical or Comedy. The nominees are Blue Moon, Begonia, Marty Supreme, No Other Choice, Nouvelle Vague, and One Battle After Another. Perri, since One Battle released in theaters, it has been considered the front runner for Best Picture at the Oscars, has been the dominant film of the award season so far. Do you think the movie's momentum will continue here with a win in this category at the Globes?
Yeah, One Battle After Another has not wavered in any respect, any step of the way. There's no reason for me to doubt it now. It is my predicted winner in this category. If anything is nipping at its heels, it's probably Marty Supreme, which I do think is surging in the race at like the perfect time, especially right ahead of Oscar voting. So that could, but just to throw a little curveball at you, if I were to see a surprise and be the happiest by that surprise, it would be Nouvelle Vague, which I actually think was one of the very best movies of last year.
Yeah, and I think that was considered a surprise that it got recognition here, and with the two Richard Linklater films nominated. But yeah, like you said, One Battle won the Best Picture prize at Critics' Choice. It's now the fourth film in history to sweep the Big Four Critics Awards: Los Angeles Film Critics Association, National Board of Review, National Society of Film Critics, and the New York Film Critics Circle, winning Best Picture in all of those. So yeah, I think this is kind of a train that is not losing steam and is going to kind of continue until March 15th, the Oscars. That's the date of the Oscars, right? March 15th.
Yes, I'm mostly thinking about January 22nd, which comes first.
Yes, for sure.
Nomination day.
And it's interesting because the last time we saw a movie win in musical or comedy and then go on to win Best Picture at the Oscars was 2019 with Green Book. So it's been a minute to see kind of the film that's like the dominant film in the award season to be in this category. Yeah, I think like you said, I think this is probably the easiest bet of all the categories that we're going to be talking about today. And I see it, like I said, winning this category. But yeah, so let's now turn to the category of Best Director Motion Picture. The nominees are Chloe Zhao for Hamnet, Guillermo del Toro for Frankenstein, Jafar Panahi for It Was Just an Accident, Joachim Trier for Sentimental Value, Paul Thomas Anderson for One Battle After Another, and Ryan Coogler for Sinners. It is somewhat common for major award shows to see a split between Best Picture and Best Director. The last time it happened at the Globes was 2019 when Bohemian Rhapsody and Green Book won the two Best Picture awards, and Alfonso Cuarón won Best Director for Roma. But it doesn't seem like, I don't think that's going to be happening this year. It seems like this is Paul Thomas Anderson's year. He won Best Director for One Battle at the Critics' Choice Awards. He's been seen as the frontrunner for Best Director at the Oscars since, like I said, the movie released. But could you see another director being recognized in this category, or do you think PTA will pick up another Best Director prize?
Yeah, I think PTA is moving along pretty steadily this award season. I would be surprised if he didn't win this particular one. And like we've already said, I think as far as the biggest contenders of the season, a lot of the races are going to come down to Sinners or One Battle After Another. But I do see a world where certain awards organizations wind up splitting certain honors. So obviously we already have the split between the Best Picture categories. And I think we're going to see another split between those two films into other categories, Best Director included, and then one I'm not going to spoil too soon.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. I mean, this is Anderson's first nomination for Best Director at the Golden Globes. He's made so many incredible films. He's been nominated for Best Director at the Oscars 3 times. So it's interesting to finally see him getting recognized by the Globes. Anderson, Ryan Coogler, Del Toro, and Zhao all received DGA nominations. So it seems like the other films the other directors in those categories are continuing to gain momentum as well. But yeah, I like I said, I think it's PTA's year in multiple categories. I think One Battle is going to do very well, both at the Golden Globes and going forward. So my prediction would be for PTA in this category as well. But let's move on now to Best Screenplay Motion Picture. The nominees are Chloe Zhao and Maggie O'Farrell for Hamnet, Jafar Panahi for It Was Just an Accident, Joachim Trier and Eskil Vogt for Sentimental Value, Paul Thomas Anderson for One Battle After Another, Ronald Bronstein and Josh Safdie for Marty Supreme, and Ryan Coogler for Sinners. Perri, unlike the Oscars, there is only one screenplay category at the Globes. For the Oscars, PTA is considered the frontrunner probably for adapted screenplay, and Ryan Coogler is a major contender for original screenplay. They both won those awards at the Critics' Choice Awards. Do you think screenplay at the Globes is a race between the two of them?
I do, but I think this is where we're going to see that back half of the split that I was just teasing, where if Paul Thomas Anderson gets Best Director at the Globes, Ryan Coogler is going to get Best Screenplay. And that's how we'll see those two films continue to share the love.
Yeah, I mean, uh, I don't really see any other film or any other writer potentially winning in this category. I think it's a two-person race between those two, and kind of mirroring the Best Picture race at the Oscars. So it'll be interesting to see if Sinners can win here. I think just like a win in the best picture musical or Best Picture drama category, if Sinners wins there and kind of solidifies itself as a big Best Picture contender at the Oscars, I think a win in this category over Paul Thomas Anderson will boost that even more for the Oscars. Any other surprises in any of these categories that we haven't mentioned that you think that you want to shout out as a potential?
I don't know about realistic surprises that I would say to someone, you should bet on this because
Yeah.
it could really happen. But especially after the Actor Awards nominations recently, I'm really curious to see how some of our international features do on Sunday night, because I think many were shocked that Sentimental Value in particular got no Actor Awards nominations, which I think is absolutely wild. I still can't quite wrap my head around that. But on top of that, like, all the international features missed out. And in a year where we have so many strong contenders in that department. So I'm really curious with the Globes of all organizations if they wind up prioritizing some of those over the ones we've already been talking about.
Yeah, I mean, the Best Picture drama, half of those films are international films. Yeah, the Sentimental Value thing really doesn't, yeah, like you said, doesn't make sense to me. Other than it's, the SAGs or now the Actor Awards are considered to be a bit more populist because of how large that voting body is. So maybe a lot of these actors didn't take the time to broaden their horizons and find some films that they needed to read subtitles for. But yeah, it's crazy considering that they have so many actors in that film that are in contention, or we thought were in contention for awards, and that Stellan Skarsgård we could talk about it later, was for a while seen as the front runner for Best Supporting Actor, and then misses out at the Actor Awards entirely. But yeah, like you said, if some of these international films can do well at the Globes, maybe that kind of counteracts them not doing as well at the SAG Awards. And there was some interesting things in the BAFTA long lists as well. We can get in that.
Oh, so many interesting things.
Yeah. We can get into some of that a little bit later. So when we come back, Perri and I will discuss the actor categories. We'll be right back. Welcome back. We are still here with senior host at Collider, Perri Nemiroff, to preview the 83rd Golden Globes, which are happening on Sunday. We are now going to be breaking down some of the actor categories. Let's talk about Best Performance by a Female Actor in a Motion Picture Drama. The nominees are Ava Victor for Sorry Baby, Jennifer Lawrence for Die My Love, Jessie Buckley for Hamnet, Julia Roberts for After the Hunt, Renata Reinsve for Sentimental Value, and Tessa Thompson for Hedda. Perri, it seems like Jessie Buckley has been the front runner to win Best Actress at the Oscars since Hamnet premiered at Telluride in August. She just won the Critics' Choice Award for Best Actress. Do you think her momentum will continue at the Globes?
I do. I think she is in very good shape. There was a point in time, I'm getting a little ahead with this, where I thought maybe Rose Byrne had topped her in terms of my predicted Oscar nominees and the person who's likely to win. But I do think that Critics' Choice Award win for Jessie Buckley really cemented her as my number one. And, Golden Globe voting closed before the CCA ceremony. So it's not like things like, let's say, Jessie Buckley's beautiful speech could help her here. But I think an important thing to note with the Globes, because we always use precursors, obviously, to figure out who's going to be our Oscar nominees, if not winners. And nothing is ever a 1-for-1. But with something like the Globes, what's really going to help certain people is if they wind up winning and they get up on that stage and they use that time in the spotlight to the fullest, to the point that either puts their performance, their film on the top of voters' minds, or potentially sways them with a really, really moving speech. So I think Jessie Buckley's going to win, and I think it's going to be a prime opportunity for her to start to pull away in the Oscar race.
Yeah, I think you make a good point. I think speeches are more important than some people realize. I think a large reason as to why Kieran Culkin won last year, I think he would have won regardless, but I think people are just like, I want to see Kieran Culkin make a funny speech again, so I'm going to vote for him again because we enjoy getting him up on the stage and hearing him talk. But yeah, so if I think, yeah, people need to kind of capitalize on those moments to kind of see their success continue. Yeah, for this category, Jessie Buckley is the only nominee in this category who received a nomination for Best Actress at the Actor Awards. Her performance
I still can't believe it. I just still can't believe it.
Yeah, it is. It's crazy. The Actor Awards are pretty wild, but yeah, Renate Reinsve not getting in there is yeah, very strange. But yeah, I mean, I think other than we were talking about how Best Picture, Comedy, or Musical is probably the least in contention category at the Globes. I think looking ahead at the Oscars, out of all the 4 acting categories, I think Best Actress is probably the least in contention. We'll talk about Rose Byrne a little bit more in a second, but I think all the other ones are much more up in the air about who could win, and Jessie Buckley's probably considered to be the biggest lock, not like a definite lock for Best Actress, but I think that she's probably the biggest front runner out of all the acting categories. And like you said, I see her success continuing in this category at the Golden Globes. But so next up is Best Performance by a Male Actor in a Motion Picture Drama. The nominees are Dwayne Johnson for The Smashing Machine, Jeremy Allen White for Springsteen, Deliver Me From Nowhere, Joel Egerton for Train Dreams, Michael B. Jordan for Sinners, Oscar Isaac for Frankenstein, and Wagner Moura for The Secret Agent. How do you see this one going?
So I'm torn between 2 people in this category. I promise you I'll pick one eventually, but part of me is thinking it could be Michael B. Jordan. He's phenomenal in Sinners. It's a hugely popular movie, but when it comes to looking ahead to this category at, the Actor Awards, but also of course the Oscars, we're mainly talking about Timothée Chalamet and Leonardo DiCaprio. They are obviously not in the same category at this particular ceremony. So this finally gives Michael B. Jordan the opportunity to go home with a statue. And I do really want to see it happen. But I also want to see Wagner Moura take it for The Secret Agent, especially after the Actor Awards snub. And I also think he missed out on the BAFTA long list, which is, again, it's just an absolute shock to me. So I think my heart is pushing me in his direction, and I think I'm going to recognize the power of my heart maybe over my brain in this particular category. And I really do think there's a significant amount of enthusiasm for Brazilian cinema. I think we saw it last year with Fernando Torres and I'm Still Here. And I think that's going to it's almost going to have like a little bit of a wave effect. And I think it's going to wind up giving him a boost here. And I think this is the boost he needs to ensure that he gets that Oscar nomination.
We're very much on the same page. Yeah, I mean, like you mentioned, Michael B. Jordan, the only nominee in this category who received a nomination for the Actor Awards. Wagner Moura missing out on the BAFTA long list, as you mentioned. I think there was a time where, I think the actor race, the Best Actor race, is kind of the most fascinating because there's so many different storylines. Well, we could talk about it more when we get to Comedy or Musical with Leo and Timothy. But I think there was a time where people had thought that because of the international contingent of the Oscars, that Wagner Moura is someone who could potentially win, Leo having already won before and Timothy still being very young. But yeah, like you said, his momentum is kind of lessening after missing in those 2 areas. But he was the first Brazilian actor nominated for Best Actor in a Drama at Golden Globes. Like you mentioned, Fernanda Torres had this surprise win last year. She became the first Brazilian actress to win for Best Actress in a Drama at the Golden Globes. So yeah, maybe this is where he could win, even if he doesn't continue to find success in other award shows. However, maybe a win here could, like I said earlier, counteract the fact that he kind of has been losing momentum and help him secure a nomination at the Oscars. I still see him getting nominated in the Best Actor Oscar category, even though he missed in those other areas, but it's definitely looking a little bit more, a little bit less of a sure thing. But yeah, he's won in other areas. He won Best Actor in the New York Film Critics Circle. He won Best Actor at Cannes. So I like I said, I think it's between, like you said, I think it's between him and Michael B. Jordan. I see Wagner Moura winning because of all the things we talked about with Fernando Torres. I think this will be his night, and I think, like I said, it will make the Best Actor race even more interesting going forward. But yeah, so let's now turn to the musical or comedy actor categories. The nominees for Best Performance by Female Actor in a Motion Picture, Musical or Comedy are Amanda Seyfried for The Testament of Anne Lee, Chase Infinity for One Battle After Another, Cynthia Erivo for Wicked for Good, Emma Stone for Begonia, Kate Hudson for Song Sung Blue, and Rose Byrne from If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You. Perri, we have some great nominees for performances from musicals. We have some great nominees for performances from comedies that are also kind of dramas. But I mean, One Battle is a black comedy. Begonia is, it's very funny. And If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You, I think has been called like a drama comedy. So, but whatever. Regardless, who do you think is going to win this one?
I do think it's going to wind up being Rose Byrne. I think we're kind of aligning with what the Oscar predictions have been all along, which is a race between Jessie Buckley and Rose Byrne. And I think this is going to be a big night for both of them, a big night to essentially, plant their flag in the rest of the season and potentially, sway votes and maybe rearrange who's the number 1 and 2. Just to throw in a little something extra, though, I think one of the things that would make me happiest in this category is to see a little bit of a curveball. I am devastated that Amanda Seyfried's work in The Testament of Anne Lee is being so overlooked in too many ways. So if someone who's maybe missed out on certain nominations and precursors winds up taking that stage and shaking up the category a little bit, I would be thrilled for it to be her. But if not Rose Byrne, I think the next most likely winner here might be Emma Stone for Begonia, because award circuit loves Emma Stone. Begonia is in the midst of like a major upswing. I mean, I thought the movie was great and I thought it was going to have a good chance in a lot of categories, but the way it's being embraced is above and beyond my initial expectations. So watch out for that one here and also in other voting bodies too.
Do not underestimate the power of Emma Stone. She is she's very famous and very beloved and has, like you said, done very well at these awards shows over the past few years. Yeah, Rose Byrne, it's interesting. This performance has been kind of beloved and celebrated by critics. She won Best Actress for New York Film Critics Circle, Los Angeles Film Critics Circle. She won Best Actress in a Lead Performance, or Best Lead Performance at the Berlin Film Festival. It'll be interesting. Like we said earlier, it seems like Jessie Buckley is kind of the main front runner for Best Actress at the Oscar. But if she wins here and continues to do well, we could see a kind of a Mikey Madison versus Demi Moore situation at the Oscars, where it's not as much of a lock for Buckley as it seems like it is right now. So yeah, it'll be interesting if she can continue to pick up steam. I mean, that performance is so good. I mean, I saw the film at the New York Film Festival, and she received a standing ovation. Mm-hmm. And there was a lot of talk about how that maybe has never happened before, like a standing ovation for like a specific performance at the New York Film Festival. Yeah, and many critics calling it her best work to date. And yeah, back to Amanda Seyfried, featured on a lot of lists for like best performances of the year. Like it seems like critics are considering her performance as like one of the best of the year, but that for some reason hasn't been able to lead to any momentum in like the award season at these at in at the Globes, or because I haven't really seen her be talked about as someone who can really contend, but I have seen her be talked about as someone who's given the best performance of the year. So I don't know why she isn't being considered more so. But like you said, maybe we can see a bit of a surprise here. It is a musical or
Yeah.
comedy category, so maybe they're trying to recognize someone from a musical. So we'll see.
I fear it's a campaign issue, of a campaign and a release issue, that it just came out later in the year. I don't think it got the push that it needed. And I fear more people just haven't seen The Testament of Anne Lee versus some of the other films. So I don't know, maybe like a last minute push could make the difference. But I just have a feeling that that's what's impacting a lot of her chances.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. Yeah, I feel like, yeah, you're right. That movie probably isn't getting as much attention as maybe it should, especially considering it's the team from The Brutalist. I mean, Mona Fastfold is the director, obviously, but it was co-written by Brady Corbet. That's the team behind The Brutalist from last year, which did very well last year at the Globes, won Best Picture, and Brady Corbet won Best Director. So maybe we can see that success for that team continuing this year. But yeah, that'll be an interesting category for sure. But so for the final lead actor category, Best Performance by a Male Actor in a Motion Picture, Musical, or Comedy, the nominees are Ethan Hawke for Blue Moon, George Clooney for Jay Kelly, Jesse Plemons for Begonia, Lee Byung-hun for No Other Choice, Leonardo DiCaprio for One Battle After Another, and Timothée Chalamet for Marty Supreme. Perri, as you know, Chalamet just won the Critics' Choice Award for Best Actor. He's considered by many to be the frontrunner for Best Actor at the Oscars. Although DiCaprio is also seen as a major contender, and Ethan Hawke has also been picking up steam, probably since Blue Moon got a nomination for Best Picture at the Golden Globes and kind of did so well at the Globes all around. That kind of helped to boost it up. And then obviously he was nominated for SAG as well for the Actor Awards. Do you think Chalamet's momentum will continue here, or do you think one of these other actors could sneak in here?
I think this is going to be Timothée Chalamet.
Yeah.
Like this feels like one of the safer bets to me. I was also just rewatching Marty Supreme, and he is utterly breathtaking in that movie. He's so good. I think he's so deserving. But this is a speech that I'm going to keep an especially close eye on. I'm not saying this is fair, and I'm not saying this is how it should be, but it does feel like literally everything he does, more so than other potential contenders, is being looked at under a microscope. And I think every word he says is going to be examined, if not over-examined. So I think he is going to win. And when he wins, I hope he gets up on that stage with something that will sway people in his favor for the rest of the season.
Yeah, he seems to have chilled a bit. Like last year at the Actor Awards, he gave this speech that got a lot of attention for him being, very confident and talking about what he feels like he can be as an actor. Everyone's aware of that speech. He got some criticism for it, for people thinking he was cocky, but I think now that speech has aged well and got him a lot of attention as being like this next best actor of his generation. And then for his speech at the Critics' Choice Awards, he seemed very nervous and a little bit more laid back and not wanting. He even said this may be my last time up here. Or I may not be up here again. So I have some people I want to thank. So it's almost like he isn't aware of how much of a front runner he is, or maybe he's just being modest. But yeah, I kind of, like I said, like you said, I agree with you. It'll be interesting to see how if that kind of vibe from the Critics' Choice Awards is similar at the Golden Globes, and he's a little bit more low key, or if he can kind of take his moment and use that to continue his success. But like we said before, the best actor category is very interesting. There's some Clayton Davis, the chief awards editor for Variety, has kind of for a while now been predicting Ethan Hawke and been talking about how he feels like people are kind of undervaluing him and that they could see him or he could see him as someone who is going to win the Oscar because of how beloved he is by Hollywood and how beloved Blue Moon is by critics, and how that film in general has been picking up steam. But like you said, I think it's largely a competition between Leo and Timothy. There's a lot of talk about how Timothy is very young. He would be the second youngest Best Actor winner ever if he won at the Oscars. Leo is someone who has been considered one of the biggest and best actors in Hollywood for a while and still has only one Oscar. So there could be a thing where people are trying to give him his second and seeing this as the good moment to do that. But if I was voting, I'd be picking Chalamet. I've talked to you before about how I think his performance is the best of the year. And I think if Chalamet and DiCaprio were the same age, I don't know if this is a strange thing to say, but I think it kind of wouldn't be a competition. I think Chalamet would be more of a front runner. Leonardo DiCaprio is my favorite actor of all time. And I think his performance in One Battle is one of the best of his career. But I just think what Timothy did in that film is, one of the best performances in a while. And I would really appreciate seeing him get recognized here and seeing his momentum continue.
When it comes to predicting awards, nominations, and winners, I don't think anything is a strange thing to say, because I always remind people of this. Like, ultimately, I do think we should be voting based on what is the best of the bunch. But the truth of the matter is we're all human beings with different tastes, different intentions, different goals. We feel differently on one day versus the other. Like, literally everything that could possibly cross your mind probably matters in some respect.
Yeah, there's so many angles to it. So it's like there's so many things to consider. Once you're like making one argument in one direction, you realize there's some other argument that could be made in another direction. But that's why the award season is so fun. But so let's take another break, and when we come back, Perri and I will break down the supporting actor categories. Stay with us. Welcome back. Senior host at Collider, Perri Nemiroff, is still with us. The last categories, the last Golden Globes categories that we are discussing today are the two supporting actor categories. First, let's talk about best performance by a female actor in a supporting role in any motion picture. The nominees are Amy Madigan for Weapons, Ariana Grande for Wicked for Good, Elle Fanning for Sentimental Value, Emily Blunt for The Smashing Machine, Inga Ipsdottir-Lilius for Sentimental Value, and Tiana Taylor for One Battle After Another. Perri, I know you are a big fan of Weapons and Amy Madigan's performance in the film. She just won the Critics' Choice Award for Best Supporting Actress. Are you pulling for her to win at the Globes in this category?
I am indeed. And at this point in time, I think it's going to be an Aunt Gladys sweep, which is just the coolest thing ever to me. I mean, Amy Madigan is like a beloved veteran in this industry that, has very much been in the spotlight before, but is taking it now in a way that I think really matches, the caliber of her work in Weapons, but also what she's brought to the industry well beyond it. And I think there's a lot of people out there that are just really enthusiastic about supporting her. So I think she's going to win at the Globes, and I think she's going to win at many other ceremonies on the horizon.
Yeah, I think this is a very interesting category as well, because for a while before Wicked came out, Ariana Grande was seen as kind of a front runner or a major contender, and has kind of dropped off a bit with the film not being as successful as maybe people thought it would be. And then after that, it kind of seemed like, oh, maybe this is now going to be Tiana Taylor, because she was kind of the other big name that was in contention here. But then now out of nowhere, well, maybe not out of nowhere, but now it seems like Amy Madigan is the front runner, which I would, the performance is awesome, and that film is great, but it really is something else. I think that she has been able to, or that Weapons has been able to sustain the momentum as a film that came out earlier in the year, and that she's been able to be successful come award season. But, Tiana Taylor won Best Supporting Actress for the National Society of Film Critics. Inga Ipstadter-Lillius, Best Supporting Actress Award for the National Board of Review. So there are some other names in this category who are getting recognized, and I think Amy Madigan now is a big front runner, and like you said, I can kind of see her going on to sweep at all these other awards. But it'll be interesting. I saw Forbes on their list of predictions. They predicted Ariana Grande, and it made me think like maybe this is the one category where the Globes kind of goes back to their old ways and flexes a little bit of their populist muscles and recognizes Grande here. But yeah, it'll be interesting.
Could be. I mean, we all well know at this point that Wicked for Good does need a little bit of a boost. I think one of the biggest blows to that movie recently, like we already know that Cynthia Erivo has been overlooked at quite a few awards bodies at this point, but that movie also not getting an ensemble nomination at the Actor Awards, that was a pretty significant blow to, not only its chances as far as its actors getting recognized, but I think I think that category can be representative of its chances in many others as well, in particular Best Picture. So that was a little bit of a red flag for me.
Yeah, I like Cynthia Erivo. I mean, like her talent and like the level of difficulty of that performance, I think it makes her deserving for sure. And I think kind of like regardless of whether or not she is nominated for Best Actress at the Oscars, which I could still see her picking up a nomination there. But regardless, like you've kind of talked about in the past, I still see her performance and Ariana Grande's performance going on to be considered iconic.
Oh, without a doubt.
And kind of living on to be well regarded. But yeah, let's now go to the last one. The last category of this special Golden Globes preview, Best Performance by a Male Actor in a Supporting Role. The nominees are Adam Sandler for Jay Kelly, Benicio del Toro for One Battle After Another, Jacob Elordi for Frankenstein, Paul Mescal for Hamnet, Sean Penn for One Battle After Another, and Stellan Skarsgård for Sentimental Value. Perri, one final prediction for today. Who do you have winning this one?
I have changed my tune considerably with this category. Stellan Skarsgård has been my number one all the way. I do not think Sentimental Value and other international features getting overlooked by SAG is ultimately going to impact its chances at the Oscars too much. I think there's a huge international contingent at the Academy. All these predicted nominees are going to come flooding right back in. But there's no denying that Stellan Skarsgård in Sentimental Value has not been like the main player that I thought he was going to be at the beginning of the season. And then on the other side of things, I was diminishing Frankenstein's chances since I first saw that movie at TIFF 2025. Admittedly, it is not my favorite of the Guillermo del Toro body of work. I love him as a filmmaker. I love his ambition. I love the passion he pours into every project he does, and I can feel it in Frankenstein. Movie didn't quite click for me. However, there is no denying that it clicked for many, many other people. And not only is Frankenstein in general rising in the ranks, but Jacob Elordi in particular, he's just got a hold on people. And I am not denying his chances, one, to get nominated anymore. But now on top of that, I think he could be a real contender to win at the Oscars and also at the Golden Globes on Sunday night. So right now, he is my predicted winner.
Yeah, I feel like I've been saying this about every category, but this is an interesting one too, because like you said, I feel like many considered Stellan Skarsgård as like a very significant front runner for a while in this category, since the film premiered. And then all of a sudden, Benicio del Toro is being recognized by a lot of these critics groups and kind of started picking up some momentum. He won Supporting Actor from the National Board of Review, New York Film Critics Circle, National Society of Film Critics. Skarsgård has only won from the Los Angeles Film Critics Association. And then, now out of nowhere, Jacob Elordi wins at the Critics' Choice Awards. Frankenstein is is nominated in a lot of other categories at the Globes, and I can kind of see this being where the film is recognized, and Lordy kind of continuing that momentum in this that he from the Critics' Choice Awards. This is the one that I think is like maybe the most difficult to choose, because I could see Benicio del Toro winning, but I can also see him and Sean Penn canceling out because they're both, from one battle. Like you said, Sentimental Value missed out at the actor awards. But yeah, like you said, I don't see that having an impact on both the Oscars and the winners at the Globes this Sunday. I think voting for the Globes ended on January 3rd, before the actor awards nominations came out. So I don't necessarily think that will have much influence on who the winners will be for the Globes. I think it's going to be Stellan Skarsgård. I think I see him winning here and kind of picking back up the momentum that he had earlier on, and then making this category a bit more interesting going forward. But
you could be right.
Yeah,
I wouldn't be mad if you were right. I'd be quite happy, in fact.
But any other final thoughts here on the Globes before we sign off?
I'm just really excited. I've heard a couple people say, oh, it's a boring season just because one battle is so strong. And yes, one battle is very strong, but I think also Sinners is really strong and it's kind of neck and neck with one battle. I don't think Hamnet is all that far behind. I think Marty Supreme is in such good shape in so many categories. I think we're seeing a Begonia surge. I mean, there's so many really good contenders and they're so wildly different that I think every single award show that happens between now and when Oscar voting for wins closes is going to have a major impact on the race. And I think we're going to see a lot of shifting rankings this season, which I find really exciting, especially when I'm so enthusiastic about so many of the nominees.
All very good points. I'm excited to watch on Sunday, and I'm excited to see how the winners there will impact the award season moving forward. It's going to be a fun one, I think. And Perri, I appreciate you joining us, lending your expertise on award season to this show. Like I said, Happy New Year again, and let's have you back on the show again if you don't mind.
Absolutely. I can't get enough of this.
Okay, fantastic. But yeah, so that's going to do it for today's edition of That's a Wrap. Stay tuned for more on Pix11 Plus throughout the night. I am Joe Kohle. Thank you for watching.